Hello and welcome to another episode of Workshop Wednesday. In today's episode we'll be continuing and hopefully finishing our project where we put our Gritblasting cabinet on wheels. So in the previous episode in this two-part series, we started off by saying about how awkward this is not having this on wheels, since it's quite a large thing to have a mobile and just block some other things. For instance, the shaper's up the corner there, and we'd like to access that. And we did talk about a couple of the challenges with putting a frame on the bottom there to put wheels on, with the height and stuff like that. But then we found some scrap metal and welded it all up, and we finished off last episode about to paint it. So now we have painted the frame, which we put one coat on this middle bit, which is going to be covered up by the wood that's going to go in here. And you can see how it's not exactly turned out the best. And we realised, well, we've got so much spare of this red paint, and that's because it doesn't cover very well, as you could see there. We put another layer over the visible bits and it looks slightly better. Now the next thing to do is to cut our piece of blackboard down to fit inside the frame. Now, if you haven't watched the previous video and don't know what this bit of wood is for, I'd highly recommend you going back and watching the previous video, as it will make a lot more sense. And you can see on here, we've marked out in pencil the size that we need to cut it to. So we're now going to cut this. So we've cut the bit of wood to size now. We've just filed off a bit of the corners to compensate for the welds in the corners, and hopefully this shall fit. Fits perfectly. Now what we need to do is drill holes and put the screws in to hold it down. We have the wood screwed in place now, and it's time to put the wheels on. So I'll just quickly do this one. I'll just go around putting on all the rest of them, and then you can tighten them up, and then they will all be fully on. The frame here is now completely on wheels, and this part of the project is completed. The next challenge is how we mount this on the bottom of the Gritblaster, which, to be honest, we haven't actually come up with a solution for that yet. However, we have emptied the material out of the Gritblaster to make it lighter to move around if we need to help us mount the frame, but we'll come back to you in a second once we've got a solution. The Gritblaster is no longer here, and that's all part of our plan to mount our frame to it. as you can see here, we have the bench, and we have lifted the Gritblasting cabinet up onto here, on top of our frame, and we've put these bits of metal underneath to compensate for the supports underneath here, to bring it up to the right height. And then now what we're going to do is drill through here and then put some fixings in to mount the actual Gritblasting cabinet frame to our wheel frame. I forgot to mention in the previous clip, but we took off the wheels so that we could fix, or so that it would be easier to fix the frame on. But now, as you can see, we have fixed the frame on, we've put the wheels back on, and we fixed them on with these self-tapping or self-drilling fixings. And we've put 4 in each corner, so that's 16 in total, which that should hold it on nicely. And the next job is to get it off the bench again, which might be slightly more difficult now that this weighs a lot more. But if we can get it off the bench successfully, then you'll see us in a second. And it is on the ground, which luckily no cameramen were injured in the making of this video. But it does look quite good, if I do say so myself. And I'll just take it for a quick test drive here. That works quite well. And just for a bit of explaining, I can't remember if I said this in the first video or not, but the reason we wanted this so far down, or so low, is so that we can put these buckets, which we've got a number of for different types of media, under the the draining chute for the media, so that we can have different types of media to do different jobs and stuff, and then so we can switch between them, and that goes out nicely, and there's enough space for that to sit on that platform as well, which is quite handy. But on that note, I think we call this project done. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Workshop Wednesday. Bye.